So the government's reversed its policy on winter fuel payment and you're welcoming that. Why?
Well, I welcome the government making a U-turn on this. We've been campaigning for them to reverse the decision for nearly a year now, so at least they have listened to that. I mean, they made a big mistake. They should never have done what they did. And they penalised hundreds of thousands of pensioners. It wasn't something that they would warn that they would do before the election. And then Rachel Reeves made out that it was the right thing to do. Actually, one of the things that I think they are doing, which is very wrong at the moment, is the Chancellor is now saying, oh, well, the economy has changed and now we can afford it. But actually, that's not the case at all. In fact, all the economic metrics are going in the wrong direction.
Let's talk about the U-turn, because you say that you're happy that they've done it, but obviously that it was a mistake in the first place. But, I mean, you guys have had your fair share of U-turns as well, right? You know how it is. Don't they deserve a bit of credit for listening and changing course?
Well, actually, what they should do is that they should say sorry.
You didn't do that. You should have done that when you were in power as well.
It's almost like they have forgotten that what we're talking about is like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, by their own figures say that 50,000 pensioners were forced into poverty by what they did last year. And 100,000 extra people went to A&E. So that's happened, and I just find it extraordinary that they don't say, sorry, we got this wrong, now we're trying to fix it.
Oh, come on, you guys never said, sorry, we got this wrong.
Of course, well,
when you promised no new tax rises in your 2019 Tory manifesto and then you were the most tax-raising parliament up until that point.
Look, there's plenty of times...
I'm very sorry, we got it very wrong.
Kemi Badenoch has said herself, we made mistakes when we were in government. We acknowledge that. But one of the things I think that the Chancellor is getting very wrong is she is trying to pull the wool over people's eyes as if somehow the economic position has changed and now she can afford to do this. She hasn't said how she's going to fund this. But what we do know is that compared to when she actually announced this last year, well, the growth figures have been revised down and inflation is higher, unemployment is up, borrowing is up, the cost of borrowing is up. So many economic metrics are going in the wrong direction.
I actually put quite a lot of those things to the Labour minister when I spoke to him. Their argument on that is that growth is, up the first quarter of this year and that the interest rates have been coming down. So
but the interest rates are higher now than they were when Rachel Reeves announced this, and growth has been revised down compared to where it was going to be, so I don't think that washes.
So you said today that this decision is too late for the 50,000 pensioners plunged into poverty this winter. Some people would argue that pensioner poverty has been getting better across time. Obviously, I'm not trying to negate how awful it is and how important it is, but the thing that has clearly been getting worse is child poverty. And yet you still believe that it is right to keep the two-child benefit cap. Why is that?
So one of the crucial things for the prospects of children is whether they're in a family that works, and that's something that we worked really hard on when we were in government. And the point about the two-child cap is that it's about fairness. So there are many families who decide that actually they're not going to be able to afford to have many children, more children, because they need to be able to make ends meet. And when you're in work, just because you have another child doesn't mean that your income...
It's not the child's fault, though, is it? I think that's the really important thing.
Just because you have another child doesn't mean that your income is going to go up. And it's not fair for people in that situation to be funding extra money for households that are relying on benefits and having more children. Now, of course, let's not get confused between child benefit, which, of course, does go to every child, and this, which is about the cap on the universal credit amount for an extra child.
Yeah, but
I guess about fairness.
I guess the argument on fairness is when you're talking about children, you don't decide what family you're born into, right? But you do have to live with the consequences. And, the research does show that this is pushing children into poverty.
Well, actually, I mean, what I would say to the government is there are better things that they can do to support children and their households not to be living in poverty. One, for instance, is to be making sure that people are in work. One of the things that we've seen under this government already is that unemployment is going up. It's harder for people to get into work. And we know it makes such a big difference to the prospects for a child whether someone in their household is working. That's the sort of thing the government should be doing, not looking at whether they get rid of the child benefit cap.